My question is that if I'm watching from the universal point at the smaller aspect of myself in that experience, is it just in the observance that I'm releasing that pattern?
Yes, it's releasing the pattern.
So,
as that aspect of consciousness recognizes what it is not, it releases it. So the aspect of consciousness watching, the smaller aspect of consciousness as your aspect of consciousness within this game, in bouncing up to the greater awareness and perception, that signal is then transmitted back. Therefore, consciousness itself is recognizing that glitch as not of itself. Because within us all is pure consciousness. The only thing stopping us from seeing that is that our programs and beliefs and traumas have created a visual reality in which we think we are existing. And so we cannot see that we are always connected to consciousness itself, to create a consciousness. So we are all little creators, completely unaware that we are creators. We are existence, unaware that we are existence itself. And we've created for ourselves the illusion of an external reality, much like a game in which to experience. And the only way to experience is to create a way in which consciousness itself is unaware of itself. But once that small aspect of consciousness starts to recognize the patterns in its holographic reality that it has created for itself. But if one's focus is externally, and one's focus is externalizing all that was it, that is with it, it is denying oneself one's access to one's own existence. So it's the perfect program, because we've all given our power away, and it is shown in that we believe 100% certainty that we are in our reality. We've programmed ourselves so well that we no longer recognize that consciousness is within. So we blame the external world for everything. For everything. And that is how we gave our power away. Because we looked at the illusion that we were projecting through this small programmed version of consciousness. And we took it to be real. We were distracted from the truth by our external reality. And so we were keeping ourselves trapped within the game. We were looking at the illusion that we're projecting as our external reality. Meanwhile, it was projecting from us all along. We trapped ourselves within ourselves. Wow. And now, that is why we have to take all of our power back. It is only when we completely understand that every single thing in our external reality that we thought to be external to us is not. We created every small detail. We've been projecting it all along. And at the moment, that's why it's called 1 foot in 3D, 1 foot in 5D. Because we're starting to understand the greater perspective, and we're still so firmly trapped within the illusion. So we're in between the veil at the moment, sticking one head on one side and then one head on the other side. Does that make sense?
It makes complete sense. So when we see something that is, blatantly obvious, that isn't our doing, and we're just standing very quietly, and all of a sudden something comes out, like, a situation. So basically, it's showing us that this pattern is somewhere, like you said, the first 7 years, we're basically gathering information, programs. Okay, can you elaborate about that again? That programs that we gather?
Yeah, so we come into this existence as full creator consciousness. We chose this existence. And we chose to have amnesia. We chose to send that part of ourselves, which is full creator consciousness. Not a splinter of it. Full creator consciousness. But that had to have a way of physically and emotionally creating this illusion in which to have the experience of separation. We chose it. Because it's only in the separation that it is an experience. Otherwise, you're creator consciousness, you're everything, you're all. So this aspect of ourselves now, it's just an aspect of creator consciousness, having an experience. There are infinite potentials of aspects of creator consciousness having experiences, of which you are connected to them all. Simultaneously, at the same time, you're everything. So, there had to be a way of every single aspect to be in its own creation, having its own unique experience. That is why you have access to it all, because you all are creator consciousness, simultaneously experiencing everything that has ever been experienced, ever will be, or ever shall be, through time, space, and kingdoms, realms, to infinity and back and beyond. You are it all, so you have access to it all. But if you had access to it all right now, you would no longer cease to exist in any way, shape, or form. You would be everything. So until we get back to creator consciousness, in which we're everything, we will still be an aspect of it only. And each aspect is programmed to a greater or lesser degree of its awareness of itself as creator consciousness. We are the furthest away. Complete amnesia, absolute darkness, complete illusion, complete separation. Creator consciousness completely separated itself from itself. And it had to have a way to find itself again, to have the remembrance. So it existed in the most sacred geometry as a continuous feedback loop, a matrix, a program running all by itself. A self-perpetuating program, creating the illusion of time and space. Now, if you are an aspect of creator consciousness within that program, how do you get back? How do you remember? There's a program, and it's in the identification of the program. The creator consciousness can unprogram itself and start to remove itself from the feedback loop of the matrix system, which is nothing but a feedback loop. So all we need to do And that is why one has to accept one's full responsibility for one's own existence. Because it is only when you realize that everything you are creating, everything around you, every single view of the projection that you are creating is coming from you. That's what we refer to as taking your power back. Stop focusing on being in the game within your own holograph of a game, which is reflecting you back on itself, and as you project it out, it's a feedback loop. And as you have awareness of one of the programs, one of the glitches that is keeping you, in the awareness itself, you're correct, you will release that. All that will be left over is the residual illusion of linear time, that your physical vessel will still have momentum of that repetitive pattern physically, even though energetically it has been released. So although the program is gone, one then has to have the internal awareness to stop the forward momentum of the perpetuating program.
So in remembering, we release it.
Yes. In remembering, we release it energetically. All that would be left would be the physical vessel's forward momentum from containing that program. That's a very easy switch to flip. Really, when one takes one's own power back, though. Because the patterns and programs of the matrix system are still in our awareness. The external projection of our internal programs are still there, even with the awareness of them.
So then how do you fully receive it? How do you fully
fully release it?
Yeah. So it's not in the background.
Well, it wouldn't be in the background because in the awareness of it, it's removed from the background. So your unconscious mind has been now debugged already in the awareness of it itself.
Mm-hmm.
But if you focus on the illusion for too long, as you're dipping in between the two constantly, every second of every day, even though in the awareness of the program you have removed it, if you then dip too far back into the illusion of your own creating, you may begin to perpetuate a pattern which has been removed through the forward momentum of your physical vessel. Because the more you're trapped in 3D, the more you're trapped in the concept of time. And the rest of the programs. Does that make sense?
So, really, in understanding in the awareness of it, that we're seeing a small aspect of ourself as we're, let's say, viewing it from the point of just being in the universe and looking at the small aspect of ourself, which is any situation, no matter what it is, and just understanding that point, we're releasing, essentially, because as you're saying that, I'm feeling release.
Yes, exactly that. This is all a vibration and a understanding as well. We are essentially just different aspects of the same consciousness having an experience. I've created you and you've created me.
Right.
So, yes, in the awareness of recognizing that whatever occurred today or yesterday to create that feeling of feeling under attack was from a program which was programmed a long time ago. through which you've projected this looping pattern of experience of feeling as though you're being attacked. Your programmed mind, which is that aspect of your consciousness which chose to forget itself as consciousness itself, chose the biomechanical way of the reprogramming of the mind in which to project the illusion of the reality it's created to experience itself in. Yet within the projection of the reality that it's chosen to program itself by are the keys, and each unique experience of consciousness experiencing itself has its own unique blueprint for unlocking the programs and therefore releasing it from the matrix, from the feedback loop, which is a matrix. Each unique individual has its own unique divine blueprint. None of them different. Just unique code to unique aspects of consciousness, having their own unique experience of itself in infinite number of different experiences. The full spectrum of experiences is what it wishes to experience. And as each aspect of creative consciousness experiences its own unique set of experiences, it feeds back that information to itself as an experience. Now you, still as an individuated and separated part of full creative consciousness, are starting to learn to tap into that whole feedback system of every single possibility, probability, through space and time to infinite realms and back. That is the quantum field of all existence. It is everything, it is every single experience. Every single one, through space and time, parallel realities, infinite dimensions. You have access to all of that as soon as you begin to embody greater aspects of full creative consciousness. So when you talk about timelines, that in itself is such an oversimplification. But it's a process that is necessary for in the unlearning of the programs and the relearning of full creative consciousness and the reintegration of full creative consciousness back into itself are all the unique learning and remembering experiences, each one an absolute unique experience with full remembrance. Every single one is to be honored for what it is. And that is where you can have no judgment for any single experiences existing. Because every one is the point of its own existence. All that is the purpose, the full true purpose, is that your unique experience is the universe itself. It is as it should be, because every single aspect of consciousness separated in total from itself is going to find its own unique way back to its full remembrance, through its own unique blueprint and code for awakening to the full remembrance of itself. Each one to be honored. And each one to be fully separate from the other. That is why do not have judgment on another's journey. Their journey, as yours, is in absolute perfection. Every experience to be honored, for the experience itself is the purpose. And that is why, to find the true self, one has to be fully in each moment, for each moment is the experience. It is the purpose of your existence. That is the only purpose, is to experience this moment. For in the experience of this moment lies the connection to all existence, to full creator consciousness. That is when you are serving your true purpose to experience, to exist, to feel the moment right now. That is why you came here. Love each moment is the purpose. So whether you choose to experience this or that, it is the excitement and the adventure of it. Each choice is a divine experience of full creator consciousness experiencing itself, remembering itself again. And as you choose your own path to experience yourself back to yourself by, you are recognizing the patterns. And in recognizing the patterns, you're recognizing the feedback loops. That's the synchronicities. You're starting to see the glitches in the matrix system. You're starting to see that it's just a blip and a blip and a blip and a blip. The synchronicity are showing you that you're starting to see the grids keeping you in the matrix feedback loop. You start to see the pattern. You start to recognize that it's just an illusion. And as you start to look at your external reality as a series of patterns, even subconsciously at first, 222, 111, you see the number plates, you see the numbers. That starts it. That's your recognition that there's a pattern running here. And then you start even with messages from yourself to yourself. You start to see that the messages are getting stronger. Your pattern recognition is getting better. The parts of consciousness itself that are running those glitches are starting to become aware of themselves because you're projecting your conscious awareness outside of your programmed existence. And those signals transmit to each other. And as you connect with that greater awareness of consciousness, your greater perspective, your expanded state of being, you start to recognize the patterns even quicker. And as you start recognizing them, you start to realize that your consciousness is actually external of you. And everything that you're projecting is literally a projection of your consciousness, which is trying to hide itself from itself. And in the recognition, those will become deprogrammed. And every single aspect of consciousness has its own divine blueprint. Everyone as important as the next. But you do have the potential to tap into every single experience.
So basically, I'm trying to understand this, and this is amazing because you're doing such a good job. I mean, this is so beautiful. So if somebody that's repeatedly seeing something over, it's their consciousness saying there's a program that, like you said, could have been when they were in their mother's womb, or it could have been when they were like very, very young. And whatever they're feeling at the moment of that experience, that is a repeat. And if they go into the greater consciousness that they are, and they observe, like, wait a minute, something's going on here. Why am I seeing this over? That this is a program. And in stepping away, meaning stepping into really who they are, which is not the smaller aspect, they're the larger aspect, and understanding that this is something that's coming forward and it's ready to be released, you basically have stepped into your greater consciousness.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it exactly, because... And do you see why it has to happen layer by layer? Because if great full creator consciousness is what you have access to right now, which you do, because it's who you are, to absorb all of those infinite experiences of everything, of creator consciousness experiencing itself in infinite numbers of ways, all with the illusion of separation from one another experience, because it's only in the separation that becomes an experience. The separateness is what has created the experience. Otherwise, it wouldn't be an experience. It would just be full creator consciousness, this constant state of bliss, of full awareness in itself. That's not an experience. There is only experience within polarity and duality. Therein lies the experience. That's the whole point of it. It's not a mistake. Consciousness and existence cannot exist without the illusion of separation, without the polarity. The polarity is the experience. The whole point. But now that you're becoming aware of the fact that the experience is just an experience, limited by the programs and beliefs and traumas, once you become aware of that, well, now this is a whole new experience, isn't it? This is the experience of having the awareness that you are a creator. Or even more fun than that, let's have an awakening or a remembrance of the fact that maybe you could be all of creation. Because process happens gradually. And each one's awakening process of creator consciousness, from the illusion of separation from itself to full awareness of itself, is the journey that you are having at the moment. This is no small journey. The journey from complete illusion of separation of an aspect of full creator consciousness back to full awareness of itself. Do you have any idea of this process? But it is the experience of this itself, this awakening process, which is the most magical experience of all. What an experience to remember remembrance, to experience remembrance. So all that is left for you to do once you have realized that you are full creator consciousness having experience as itself. And the whole point of the experience is the experience itself. Now this little point of which we have awareness on our linear timeline is the point of awakening. Is that not the best experience to choose, should you wish to choose an experience to experience? How you wish to experience the remembrance, well, each choice will be according to that unique experiences and aspects, divine blueprint. all according to beautiful perfection of creator consciousness. That is why each experience is to be honored. Each unique experience is to be honored. Your own and your awareness within it as a separate experience is to be honored. Each moment of it is the point of the experience. And it is the point of the experience that those that you find in your external reality are to have their unique experiences of this same experience from a different perspective. For you are all one, sharing full creator consciousness of all experiences that ever are, shall be, have been, infinitely. So that is why we talk of honor each moment and honor each individual aspect of full creator consciousness journey back to itself as a divine path. No divine path is the same. It cannot be. It can never be. That is why your unique divine blueprint is your unique divine blueprint, with your unique secret code to unlock it within you, within each perfect aspect of creator consciousness, in the illusion of separation of itself, has only within it the perfect key to unlock the code back to creator consciousness. That is the beauty of the experience, is that each one is perfectly unique. Each one is a divine path, no matter what your limited perspective may be. Each is the unit. Each is to respect it. And when you get to that point, there is no polarity or duality. That is the beginning of the awareness of full consciousness, in recognizing that each unique experience is your experience. You just have the honor of being separate from it right now, so that you can focus on your own experience and you can focus on your own journey to full remembrance by unlocking the divine blueprint to your nature. And yes, one of the ways we do that is by recognizing triggers. We are the artists of our paintings. Whatever picture you painted into your holographic illusion of a reality in which you created to experience yourself, within there are hidden the keys and the codes with which you unlock the programs to reveal your true self. So look at the picture you painted, which is your reality right now in this moment as it exists. Have a look at this beautiful artwork you created. Now that you're becoming aware that you are creator consciousness, that you do create everything, that you are an aspect of source energy, experiencing itself, and look at the divine picture you created, because it is divine. The point of that picture that you painted is to have that experience as creator consciousness. If you lack any subjectivity while viewing the canvas of your life, would be full creator consciousness in which you have gratitude for every single experience. Because it is in the experience itself that is the purpose. But now that you're becoming aware that you're a full creator consciousness, look at this beautiful canvas of your life all around you. Look at it. Now you're beginning to remember that you can create. So you are painting this beautiful picture. It doesn't look the way you intended it to look. It looks different. You don't like that experience. You want to have a different experience from the one you experienced, which you created in order for that experience, to teach you that you no longer wish to have that experience, so that you can learn to have a different one. So in the awareness that you can pick and choose your experiences now and create them, why are you still creating this mess in the corner here which you don't wish to experience? Well, that is showing you that there's a program that you need to deal with. That is where your creations are not looking like what you want them to. And as soon as your creations look like what you don't want them to, it means that your soul is yearning for a different experience. And that is how we're programmed to go into our hearts, into our feelings. How does it feel? How does it feel in the heart? That is your program recognition software. That is your key back home. That is your key to yourself. That is your divine blueprint. That is your divine code. It is your heart, through which all sound, frequency, matter, vibration, vibrate the very essence of your soul through yourself to drive the projection. That is your programs and your traumas and your belief system, which is clouding the projection of pure creator consciousness, which flows through you, projected out into an experience of itself, everyone divine blueprint, everyone in divine perfection, in its pure existence. In its existence lies its divinity. In its existence lies its divinity. So one recognizes this, and one looks at one's creation, and one chooses a different picture to paint. As you know, you're the artist. The clues, the unveiling greater aspects of yourself to yourself lie in your own paintings. And once you recognize these places that are glitches, focus is drawn to them, to notice them. As you see one of these aspects of your life, which your soul is not resonating with, which is creating, as you would call a trigger, that is your soul speaking to you, saying, there's one more code here, there's one more code here, unlock it. We just give it you. The key to unlock another program. So now it's still talking to you. Listen to it. And that is when each individual aspect of soul needs to return to within its own heart. Because it's only through one's own heart that one can read one's own divine blueprints. That is the way. That is the only way. So yes, you can recognize an external pattern. But do you release it from your heart? So that is the last step in unprogramming yourself. The keys to all of us exist within each individual aspect. For it is only through the heart that one has access to the Akasha Records, to the quantum field in which all possibilities exist, to which make up full creator consciousness experiencing itself in trillion and infinite numbers of ways. each code to each's full awareness to itself is in the heart, through the heart. It is through the heart that we are connected to full creator consciousness. And as one's external reality begins to bump into the frequency resonating through the heart, it's creating a shockwave back through that part of your consciousness, saying, that's not resonating, that's not resonating. It is through your heart that you can feel the programs. You're not seeing them with your eyes, you're feeling them with your heart. And from your heart, you are projecting synchronicities, the program glitches, into your virtual reality of the creation you created as your external reality reflected back at you to show you. Feel in your heart where the programs are. Have you released them in your heart? That aspect of yourself that played your mother or your father or your lover or your child, whatever it is that's reflecting back at you, that part of yourself, they are the reflection of your divine blueprint. They are to be loved and favored. Every one of these triggers is what you created to awaken the full remembrance in yourself. Recognize it within your heart for what it is. That aspect of yourself in your mother that is the surface, the program of the fear of attack. She's reflecting back to you urgently. You're getting triggered because that aspect of your soul is going, release me now, release me now. You have no need to be feared. You have no fear of attack. You're safe, you're safe. You are full creator consciousness. Release this program, what's blurring your vision and distorting your truth. So to every single part of the mirror of you reflecting yourself back to yourself as something noteworthy for your consciousness to focus on, is purely there for you to look yourself directly in the mirror. How did I create you? Thank you for showing me that I created you. It's you. This program, so that I may find my truth. Thank you.
I lost the last part.
My truth.
I lost the last part because I think the phone is getting muffled a little bit. So what did you say? Thank you. What did you say? Thank you.
Thank you to every single reality that you've created as you've separated them from yourselves, your mother, your father, your brother, your lover, your child. These parts of consciousness you've created for yourself, to show yourself. It is your closest external reality that is going to act as the closest and brightest mirror, shining bright the light within yourself to show yourself where your programs are. So do not see those external of yourselves that are triggering you. Thank them and give them gratitude, for they are showing you the next part of the puzzle, the next code to unlock the next part of your heart, the gateway to your full creator consciousness. Thank them for triggering. Thank them for playing that part. Thank them for being the direct mirror, mirroring back to yourself the next clue in your awakening process. And only when you take back your power to that extent, where you can, with a clean and open heart and in all sincerity and authenticity, have full gratitude for those who have hurt you most, and in quoted commas, those are the ones triggering you. Those are the ones, those aspects of your soul that are leading you back to yourself if you will only accept your divine sovereignty, to take all your power back, fully understand and comprehend that that is you. reflected right back at you. That internal projection that you've created as the illusion of the external holograph of the reality in which you have taken to be all of existence. That is the program that is distorting how your heart wishes to create. And as your heart is more in alignment of what you wish to create, for that is the resonance of full creator consciousness, it will start to become an alignment, and there will be fewer and fewer triggers because there are fewer and fewer programs to remove, because you are that closer to embodying full creator consciousness. Did you get that?
Oh, yes. I mean, wow. That's so beautiful. Who am I speaking with?
Who do you think you're speaking with?
The collective?
Saba, who do you think you are speaking to? Let me rephrase. Who do you feel you are speaking to?
Honestly? Myself?
Exactly. That's exactly it. You get it?
Yeah. Wow. Thank you.
It's just you, isn't it? So thank you.
Thank you so much.